The fastest way to establish trust with someone isn't finding clever words, but quietly matching the rhythm of their body. Most people spend conversations trying to convince others with arguments, completely blind to the silent physical dance happening underneath. When your physical posture directly clashes with the person in front of you, even the best ideas sound like unwanted friction. Imagine walking into a high-stakes meeting room on a tense Thursday morning. Your manager, Marcus, sits behind his desk with his shoulders hunched tight and his forearms pressed hard against the wood. His eyes dart across a spreadsheet's printout, and his pen taps a rapid, impatient beat against the coffee mug. You step inside, holding a proposal to extend your team's project deadline by 2 weeks, sensing his high anxiety. Your immediate instinct is to project absolute calm to balance his stress. You slide into the chair opposite him, leaning back deeply with stretched legs in a relaxed posture. Your voice takes on a slow, drawn-out tone, placing long pauses between sentences. This unhurried energy feels like a soothing blanket intended to calm his frazzled nerves. But inside Marcus's head, something entirely different is happening. Your slowness doesn't feel calming to him. It feels like indifference and disrespect for his urgency. While he is operating at top speed, your loose posture signals that you don't grasp the gravity of the deadline. He crosses his arms even tighter, pulling his upper body back into a defensive posture. Every slow word spoken makes his jaw tighten just a little bit more. He interrupts your second sentence with a sharp, clipped question about risk management. Startled by his sudden heat, your voice softens even further to de-escalate the tension. A gentle, easygoing smile appears on your face, feeling completely unnatural to the room. To Marcus, that relaxed smile looks like dismissiveness in the face of a crisis. He taps his pen harder, his knuckles turning pale against the plastic casing. He cuts off your presentation, declaring flatly that no deadline extensions will be approved this quarter. You fold your papers together, feeling a heavy knot of frustration forming in your chest. A well-crafted solution was brought into the room, specifically designed to protect project quality. Yet the conversation felt like pushing two opposing magnets together from the very first second. You leave his office convinced that Marcus is simply unreasonable and impossible to negotiate with. Walking back to your desk brings a lingering sense of powerlessness and exhaustion. 30 minutes were spent fighting against a wall without ever understanding why it was built. This pattern repeats itself in subtle ways across every area of daily work life. Soft speech directed at fast-paced colleagues leaves you wondering why they always seem annoyed. Rushing words around thoughtful, deliberate thinkers causes them to pull back into silence. Constant attempts to fix communication through words ignore the invisible barrier created by posture. The disconnect isn't in what you are saying, but in the mismatched energy brought into the room. You leave every difficult interaction feeling drained, assuming that some people are just naturally closed off. This cycle of subtle friction continues unbroken, keeping the hidden mechanism completely veiled. What was experienced in that office is the silent cost of physical mismatching. In social psychology, the breakthrough skill to bridge this gap is known as behavioral mirroring. Grounded in research on non-conscious mimicry, often called the Chameleon Effect, this technique explores how humans naturally build rapport. Scientists observe that when two people feel a genuine connection, they automatically synchronize their postures, gestures, and vocal pace. This non-conscious alignment sends a silent signal to the brain that says, "This person is like me and can be trusted." When you consciously apply behavioral mirroring, you deliberately match the nonverbal cadence of the person speaking. It is not about mocking someone or imitating their every physical movement like a theatrical mime. Clumsy or obvious copying will instantly break trust and make others feel uncomfortably observed. Instead, true mirroring is the art of subtle synchronization across key behavioral channels. You match their general energy level, whether they are energized, calm, or intensely focused. Reflecting their primary physical angle means leaning forward when they lean forward, or sitting upright when they sit tall. Aligning vocal volume and speaking tempo allows both voices to share a similar natural wavelength. Psychologists note that our brains naturally process behavioral symmetry as a marker of psychological safety. When someone sees their own pace reflected in you, their nervous system drops its instinctual guard. They stop viewing you as an unpredictable external force and start receiving you as an ally. Behavioral mirroring is not a sneaky trick to manipulate people into doing what you want. Rather, it is a tool for empathy, clearing away subconscious friction so real communication can happen. It removes the invisible barrier of physical mismatch before you even present your message. Once that subconscious harmony is established, Your actual words can finally be heard without distortion. Knowing this single skill shifts your entire approach to human interaction from friction to alignment. Now, let's step into that exact same Thursday morning meeting with Marcus, armed with the skill of behavioral mirroring. You walk through the office door holding the exact same 2-week deadline extension proposal. Marcus sits behind his wooden desk, shoulders tight, forearms pressed hard, pen tapping rapidly against his mug. Instead of sinking back into a lazy slump to force calm, you take a breath and tune into his physical state. You sit down facing him, upright in your chair, resting your elbows cleanly on the table at a similar angle to his. A firm, focused posture is adopted to match his level of serious engagement. When beginning to speak, you skip the slow intro and match his brisk, concise speaking pace. Your opening summary is delivered with clarity, keeping your vocal energy sharp and direct. Marcus stops tapping his pen for a brief second, his eyes shifting from his spreadsheets up to your face. His nervous system instantly registers a subtle sense of alignment in the room. Because your body language matches his urgency, he doesn't feel the need to fight you for speed. He asks his sharp question about risk management, but this time his voice lacks that combative edge. Instead of softening into an artificial smile, you maintain a steady, focused expression and lean forward slightly. Answering his question directly in 2 concise sentences matches his preferred format for data. As Marcus slowly lowers his arms and rests his hands flat on the desk, you gradually ease your own posture back just a fraction. By matching him first, you create a subtle bridge that allows you to guide the conversation's pace toward calm. He picks up your proposal, flips to the second page, and actually reads through your proposed timeline. He asks a thoughtful follow-up question about team capacity, genuinely considering your solution. You explain the resource allocation with quiet confidence, maintaining your steady alignment. After a short silence, Marcus nods slowly and approves the extension with a manageable contingency plan. Gathering your papers, you stand up calmly and thank him for his time before exiting the office. Stepping back into the hallway, a deep sense of quiet composure washes over you. The victory isn't that Marcus changed into a different person. It is that you held your ground with total clarity. An exhausting power struggle was avoided simply by choosing alignment over friction. You realize that you no longer have to feel at the mercy of another person's difficult mood. That same internal ease carries over into your afternoon project calls with cross-functional teams. When a nervous colleague speaks in quick, high-pitched bursts, you meet their volume and gently steady the flow. When a quiet director speaks with long, deliberate pauses, space is granted without rushing the silence. You navigate complex workplace dynamics without losing your personal grounding or draining your energy. Conversations that used to feel like uphill battles now flow with a natural, steady rhythm. A grounded confidence grows inside, knowing you possess a reliable key to build rapport in any room. Tension is no longer misinterpreted as personal hostility from colleagues or clients. Difficult interactions are seen for what they truly are: simple physical mismatches waiting for alignment. Your daily work experience transforms from a series of exhausting collisions into a practice of calm influence. Walking out of the office at the end of the day leaves you feeling clear-headed, grounded, and in full command of your presence. You can begin practicing the foundation of behavioral mirroring today in your very next conversation. Pick just one subtle channel to focus on during your next interaction with a friend or colleague. Pay attention to their vocal volume first. Notice whether they speak softly or with booming strength. Gently adjust your own voice to match their volume level within the first 30 seconds of dialogue. Alternatively, observe their physical posture during a sit-down discussion. If they lean back comfortably, mirror that open angle after a natural 2-second pause. Avoid mimicking sharp, sudden gestures or unique nervous habits, as those can appear unnatural. Keeping adjustments subtle and smooth ensures they remain grounded in genuine curiosity. Notice how quickly the emotional climate of the room settles when physical friction vanishes. With consistent, small observations, mirroring becomes an effortless habit that enriches every relationship touched. True connection rarely begins in the complexity of your arguments. It starts in the quiet harmony of your presence. Aligning physical rhythm before sharing words replaces invisible friction with effortless understanding. The next time you sit across a desk like Marcus's, remember that rapport is yours to build. Instead of pushing against someone's energy, match their stride and watch the tension dissolve. What is one conversation on your schedule this week where matching someone's pace could change the entire room?